So I'm here with Blake Primrose from our Morayfield office, talking about a deal he's just completed at Lear Drive, which had some interesting moving parts. Anytime we get a deal done in the current environment, it's worth digging in to see exactly what closed the deal out. So, Blake, tell me a little bit about the actual property and the owner's situation when you took it on.
Yeah, so thanks, Ash. Basically, 950 square metre industrial shed, kind of split up down the middle of half showroom and half workshop at the rear. So it's got 4 roller doors, bit of hide stand and heaps of parking on site as well. Then the main takeaway would be the frontage on the Bruce Highway. So it gives, every tenant the best exposure they can ask for with, 60,000 passing cars a day.
So what was the owner's situation that you had to factor into this deal?
So he owns a few properties along the strip, and his main thing was keeping his value up, keeping the face rent up. So he was not negotiable on the rental. So that's always a good topic when you're speaking with tenants. But he was, willing to provide incentives depending on the length of term from the tenant. So yeah, our main focus was to keep the face rent where it needed to be, and provide some solutions for getting the tenant to sign the dotted line.
And that's important to establish up front with owners, isn't it? That is it more important to have income coming in straight away, or do we really need to? Obviously, the rent impacts the value and impacts your lending criteria. So it's really important that we establish that up front.
Absolutely, and it just saves time. As we know, time kills all deals. So before you even list the property, we sit down with the owners and get clear whether or not they need to keep their value up and they're offering the incentives, or they just want us to give them offers and get somebody in there as quick as possible. Absolutely.
How did you find the tenant with this one? What was their situation?
So they were up on the Sunshine Coast in 3 separate sheds with holes cut through the wall. And they weren't around any other caravan users or any real exposure. So their main focus was to find a premise that was bigger and all under one roof. So they went from 550 square meters with no outdoor hard stand display area to 950 square meters with indoor showroom as well as potential for outdoor showroom as well.
And we see that a fair bit with your proverbial magic mile. So it's working really well with caravans. It works with cars. It works with furniture shops. They want to be in and around that cluster of businesses. And interesting for me when you talk about the type of user, because we're in a strange time at the moment with the COVID situation, but there's still businesses that are maintaining or even powering ahead. And domestic tourism is one that is really earmarked as kind of a boom prospect, and the caravan operators are all telling the same story, that the orders are going up, business is going well. So there's a real opportunity for them to jump. Is that what you're seeing on a few different fronts?
Absolutely, yeah. Especially with the tenants that went in, they got awarded hybrid caravan of the year, and they were going gangbusters, and then they moved into the new premise and it's just gone the exact same. And then exactly like you said, with domestic tourism, we won't be able to go overseas. So I think the caravan industry is going to boom in the next coming months when the borders reopen and people are allowed to travel again. So those industries are a bit of a surprise to some people. I think that's going to happen.
And that efficiency of going from 3 tenancies to 1, that's something we see pretty regularly with a business growing, and then they'll go next door, then they'll go over the road. But the actual operational efficiencies is something that they'll find, especially if they've got a few staff and you've got moving costs and you've got room for staff to hide.
Absolutely.
The cost of the extra rent, call it an extra 50 grand. That's if you can save yourself 1 employee or half an employee per week in labour from improved efficiencies, then the rent becomes inconsequential in the scheme of in the big scheme of things on the savings. Do you see a bit of that with warehousing? You're seeing that a bit, aren't you, with pallet racking?
Definitely. They can, if they're split into 3 separate tenancies, for every tenancy that you split into, you lose a certain amount of meters for extra pallet racking, height. A lot of the users as well have been in lower set tenancies. So say they're taking up 4 tenancies that are low set, they can move into one tenancy that might be half the size, but they've got triple the amount of height, which, that's an interesting one as well that we've had a bit in the last couple of weeks.
Yep. Yeah, and we expect to see more of that with the shift to, we're all learning how to shop online through necessity at the moment. So warehousing is really going to be the boom of 2021 we're expecting. So I really appreciate that, Blake. Any takeaways from any owners that are looking to have their own property leased? Any lessons to be learnt with this one?
I think the main thing is when whoever you pick to be your agent is to make sure you have that sit down before you commit to anything and find out, one, what their strategy is to try and secure you a tenant, what the marketing is going to look like, and see if they do ask you the questions of what's your goal. Do you need the face rent, or do you need somebody to come in quick for cash flow? So I think it's just having those couple of questions before you just sign with anybody, making sure that the agent that's working for you is going to be on the same page as you are with what kind of tenant you're looking for and what you need to get a tenant secured. So I think that's always something that we try to make sure we cover, so that we're not wasting anybody's time, and we can make the deals happen as quick as possible.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, ask those hard questions up front and get clear on the same page. That makes sense. So, all right, really appreciate it. Thanks, Blake.
No worries. Thanks, Ash.